What's
Boom.
up, guys?
There
Today
it is.
we got sleepers, busts, and locks for week 9. I guess we'll start this off with our Thursday night review.
Boom.
I don't actually guess, I know. And let's just get the cat out the bag. Well done from Deontay Johnson. Over 650 days since his last touchdown.
Yes, sir.
You got one. So
Yep. He should be in your lineups. We said it. We'll get to the other guys in a second. But, yeah, Steelers. So, starting this week off on a good foot.
yep.
We split on this one. I took the Steelers, obviously. Carter took Tennessee. So, feeling good because we only differed on 2 games, right? So,
I want to say more than 2.
Nah.
Well, yeah, but you took. I'm feeling really confident about the Panthers game.
That is the one we differed on. Yeah.
Is that the only one though?
Cincy, Chargers, Philly, Oakland, Carolina, Indy, Houston, Baltimore, New Orleans, New England, Rams, Cleveland, Atlanta, KC. Yep.
Wow.
So you got one shot, bud.
Alright. Try to tie it up.
But yeah, guys. So let's jump into this Thursday night game, and then we'll get to everyone's favorite segment. But so Steelers 20, Titans 16. A classic. I think this is kind of the game that both you and I expected to see out of these two teams. Low scoring. Not I don't want to say a bad game, but just not a real exciting one, I guess. So Kenny Pickett, start with him. Neither of these quarterbacks were fantasy relevant this week. I can assure you that. Pickett with 10 points, Levis with roughly 9, I believe. Pickett did get a touchdown. Was not effective in the running game at all. So until he starts scoring.
The outdoor space is great, but we do have invasive weeds.
That was so random. I was on this page for a minute. But anyways, guys, so until Pickett starts throwing for, over 200 yards a game, can give you multiple touchdowns, which we have not seen this year, he's pretty irrelevant on terms of fantasy radar. Definitely a guy I missed on early in the season. Preseason, I thought Pickett would take the leap as I did this whole Steelers offense. Clearly has not happened. So moving to the run game, Jaylen Warren with very, very, very efficient game. I think if they learn how to use him and Najee together, I think both these guys can be fantasy relevant at the same time. Obviously, Najee came away with the touchdown. Bulk of the carries with 16, Warren with 11. Both had rushes of over 20 yards. Najee, the 10-yard touchdown. Warren had 8 yards per carry, was very effective on almost every touch he had. So, really bro. I'm sorry, guys.
Welcome
Friday
to Friday
Night
Night
Friends.
What's good,
Facts.
Side-Eye?
What's up, bro?
Nice to see you here
but
again.
Jaylen Warren looking like the more efficient back yet again.
Big triple F.
Jaylen Warren had 3 targets. Najee actually had 4. Jaylen Warren, again, much more efficient. 3 for 25, whereas Najee was 2 for 7 with his targets. So, I mean, Jaylen Warren, Najee's more of like the sure volume. You'd think if someone's going to get a touchdown, you're probably going to put your money on Najee versus Jaylen Warren. But Warren's been very effective, very efficient. I like both of them. I'll have to check the schedule moving forward for the Steelers. Check that after we go through this. But both backs were very good in terms of fantasy value, production. So receiving, as Carter highlighted, guys, Deontay Johnson over 600 days without a touchdown. That was kind of the running joke from last season. Had 80-something catches, over 800 yards, and not a single touchdown. But if you've waited on Deontay Johnson, if you've had him on your IR, hopefully you played him last night. He was a play for us against a very poor Tennessee defense. You're cashing out now. So
I said the happy Sabbath, fellas.
Happy Sabbath.
Happy Sabbath.
Praise the Lord.
Is the Sabbath on Friday?
That's a discussion for another day. But
We'll roll with it.
Deontay Johnson, 9 targets. Next closest with Pickens with 5, and we'll get to that in a second because that's a whole dilemma. But 7 for 90, touchdown, had some outstanding catches. That deep one late in the game was an amazing catch. But Deontay Johnson looks like the alpha in this offense right now, getting peppered with targets from Pickett. So moving forward, I'd have Johnson above Pickens. I think you coming in the season, you were very high on Johnson, higher than I was, and higher than consensus, I believe. I thought him and Pickens were right there, but clearly Johnson is up
He's
and
the
away.
alpha there.
Yeah. So good stuff from him. No one else really relevant, but obviously we'll talk about George Pickens here for a second, guys. 5 targets, 2 receptions, -1 yards. So, like, I don't get it. That's all I can really say.
Yeah.
Pickens is one of the most talented receivers in the league. You'd think you'd have to find a way to get him the ball. Obviously, they won the game. So, Steelers fans, you got to be happy with that. Steelers have to be happy with that. But you always want your best guys to produce. You want them to be happy. So, you'd think, like, this kind of, in my opinion, primes Pickens. I don't know who they play next week for a big game. Week 10. He's one of those guys where you come off a bad game, a very disappointing one against an exploitable secondary in the Titans. Next week is when you want to start him. Mm-hmm. It's kind of, that's kind of how it goes. So let's see. Steelers schedule. Oh, okay. They play.
Sabbath starts from 5:45.
Yeah, so because the Jewish calendars, they start their day in the evening. Technically, it starts in the evening and then runs over into the morning.
Oh, okay.
Or into the evening of the next day, but yeah.
Gotcha.
So, Steelers play the Packers next week. Pretty exploitable defense. We've seen them, I think we've said this before. The Packers defense is just like kind of out of sorts and not as good as what you and I made it out to be.
For sure.
To start the season. So, I'm going to go ahead and say now, start Deontay Johnson next week.
So dubbing.
Yeah.
Dude, this is a game that I feel like both those teams would salivate over, like on a week-to-week basis.
Steelers,
just a run-heavy defensive game. No, Steelers Titans.
Steelers Titans. Yeah. No, that's like a solid matchup.
Yeah, both of those teams want to play that type of game.
So Steelers moved to 5-3, bro. This is the best division in football. Yeah. I think that's easy to say right now.
Easy.
Ravens are what? 6-2.
Uh-huh.
Bengals are 4-3. Cleveland's 4-3. So all these teams within 1.5 games of each other. So very impressive. Pickens talking about free me. I need to be freed from the terrible luck I've been having. Bro gave 1.9. Yeah, side-eye. That's rough, man. If I had Pickens, I probably would have been starting him against a bad Tennessee defense. It's just very disappointing. I'll say that. So.
Side-eye's been having a rough go at it.
He has, bro. He has a fabulous team, but so Steelers got, just to highlight some defense here, 4 sacks. Highsmith and TJ Watt are absolute monsters, combined for 3 of those sacks, so good on them. Also, Cole Holcomb, their linebacker, signed from Washington last year, is out for the season now with knee injury, I believe. So that's kind of hurts them on the inside linebacker there. But anyways, Tennessee, Will Levis, the kid has legit arm talent. I think it's safe to say that. Saw some of the throws he was making. His arm talent is arguably second to none in the NFL. He's just going to have – it's just going to be growing pains from here on out.
Yeah.
Playing on an already subpar offense.
He seemed a little complacent in the – he felt – it almost looked like he was naively comfortable in the pocket. He has comfortableness in the pocket, which is good, but
he needs that. You need that internal clock.
Right. Yeah. Just the clock's missing.
When I was watching the highlights a few minutes ago, I was saying he needs to get rid of the ball. Mm-hmm. There were 2 or 3 times where he took sacks where it's you just can't hold on to the ball for 4 or 5 seconds and not be moving in the pocket. You're gonna get sacked.
Yeah.
But yeah, Will Levis, guys, I think he'll be solid. I think it was Seattle fan on Wednesday was asking if he should be picked up. This Titans offense is not explosive, doesn't offer a lot in terms of potential ceiling. I don't see Levis as a high priority pickup or someone that you would even want to stream.
Uh-huh.
Now he did go against a Pittsburgh defense at home, which is always going to be a tough go, but I just don't see him further on projecting for him to be, really. He might have a few matchups here and there, and then sure, because the arm talent, what the offense can do, sure, but he's not worth rostering,
right?
In my opinion. Derrick Henry with a pretty solid game, 75 yards, touchdown, dominated carries again, 3 times the carries of Tyjae Spears. So they're having they're within 15% of each other in terms of snaps on a year-long basis so far. Tyjae, you and I are really excited about him, looking forward, but right now it's still Derrick Henry's backfield, and he's still producing. So good for him. And he also had 3 targets for 27 yards in the receiving game. So that's whenever you get receiving work from Henry and a touchdown, you're ecstatic.
Mm-hmm.
You're ecstatic. So receiving.
Especially we were talking about this. That touchdown was impressive.
Yes.
That's some vintage Derrick Henry.
Let's get out of my way. I'm making it here whether you like it or not.
Whether you put 5 guys in front of me or not, it doesn't matter.
Right. So Kyle Phillips, guys, I want to highlight him. 5 targets, 4 receptions, 68 yards, tied for receptions, led them in yardage, third on the team in targets behind Hopkins and Tyjae Spears. Kyle Phillips was a guy I highlighted when he came off of IR, didn't do much, had 3 for 28 last week against the Falcons. If him and Levis clearly have some chemistry going. He's a slot type guy, knows how to get open, can be very friendly to a young quarterback like that. So I think Kyle Phillips, guys, if obviously this is the first type of waiver wire news we get to put out, so we left to see what the rest of the players do. But I like Kyle Phillips in your last guy on your bench maybe. I think he can be an effective player. I liked him coming into the season for this Tennessee offense and liked him when he came off of IR. Personally, I dropped him, thinking about going picking him up. I just with buys and stuff, trying to stream some defenses, trying to fit him in is a little rough right now. I got like 4 buys, so if you're in the same situation, I'd probably wait. But Phillips looks good.
If Saquon for Adams and Gus the Bus.
We go with Gus because he's been playing better than Barkley. I can understand that, even though I'd probably disagree with that because.
Yeah.
I mean, Barkley put up 128 when he was the only offense literally last week. But anyway, so DeAndre Hopkins, guys, you were happy in the first half, disappointed in the second. That's safe to say. 7 targets in the first half, 4 for 60. Second half, didn't have a single reception, had 4 more targets. So that's very frustrating. I still think he's a start here on out. In my opinion, every matchup you don't want to sit him. As we saw last week, I'm sure a lot of people sat him, had them on his bench, lost out on some wins. So Hopkins, guys, a frustrating game, but nonetheless, you're starting him. Very talented. I mean that one reception where he spun from the guy, juked the guy, and then spun again. I was like, jeez, dude, that's just crazy.
He had about 5 spins in the highlights that we were watching.
So, also want to say prayers out to Traylon Burks. Scary scene there. Talented guy who can't seem to catch a break in the injury area right now.
Fully mobile, though. So.
Yeah, moving all extremities, that sort of stuff. So, good to hear that, but sad to see because very talented guy, was arguably my favorite receiver coming into the draft last year out of Arkansas. I just thought he was like a great mold, could really do it all, athletic guy, big body type of guy. But yet to see him put it together. Hopefully, don't want to put this year in the bag quite yet, but hopefully year 3 will be a more fruitious year, if that's a word.
Fruitful,
yeah, fruitious.
Fruitious. All right, cool. So is it Sleeper Bust Lock now?
Sleeper Bust Locks, guys, what you have all been waiting for this week.
Yeah, this is the time. All right, I'm going to start it off hot and heavy with...
You're taking it over. Yeah, go right ahead.
QB Sleepers. Zach Wilson versus the Chargers. You're going to be like, why are you saying Zach Wilson? And
I was thinking that,
honestly, I just feel it this week, I guess.
I like it.
More than I ever have with Zach Wilson, I'll put it that way. So this game is in New Jersey, and the Jets are actually pretty good in New Jersey. It seems like they really feed into that home crowd. They play well. I expect it to be quite a close game, actually. And the Chargers in the past couple weeks have been very deliberate at stopping the run, and very deliberate at giving up a lot of deep plays and work to wide receivers. So I think Zach Wilson can get himself 1 or 2 touchdowns, maybe scramble for some yards, and give you, a decent week if you're in a crunch.
Yeah. So they're allowing the most yards to quarterbacks, most points to quarterbacks, and 6th most touchdowns thus far in the season. So, solid pick. I like it. I was actually thinking about that.
About Zach Wilson.
Yeah. About making him my sleeper, but I was like, Zach Wilson? I don't know about all that.
It's a little risky.
It is.
You did it right after the 1 week.
I did.
Right after the week with KC.
Yeah, I did. I was riding the Zach Wilson train for
There was a huge train going.
about 2 blocks and then got right off. But guys, I'm going with Bryce Young. So if you're watching Wednesday night, you know my pick is already Carolina in this Carolina Indy game. I like them coming off the win at home yet again. What we saw with the Saints in Indy last week, Saints had their best offensive performance. I think we see a breakout performance from this offense. Now Indy's not terrible against quarterbacks, but I think I'm very encouraged by seeing the Saints get on track against Indy. I think we see a little bit of a breakout from Bryce Young, as I just said. Indy has allowed over 2,000 yards and 9 touchdowns, so up there in yardage allowed. I think it could be favorable to a young quarterback like Bryce Young. So I really like him in this matchup. 2 other guys I just want to shout out is Mac Jones against the Commanders and Derek Carr against Chicago. 2 other solid streaming options, but Bryce Young is my sleeper quarterback for the week.
Yeah, Derek Carr was going to be kind of one of my guys to mention too. So
You can just double down on that.
double down on Derek Carr.
I'm starting him.
I'd actually be more confident starting Derek Carr than Zach Wilson, to be honest. I was like saying Zach Wilson was my sleeper, I'd say. But anyways, running back sleepers. I'm going to go Chuba Hubbard versus the Colts. Chuba's been actually really good these past couple of weeks. Stepped up as the clear guy that's number 1. Who knows what's happening with Miles Sanders right now. And Colts are giving up right now the most points per game in the league overall. 5th most points per game to running backs in fantasy. So you can expect some high output this week from the Panthers. As you said, you picked them to actually win this game. And Chuba Hubbard will likely be the recipient of the points due to the ability to run and catch the ball out of the backfield.
So for that game, I just want to say, guys, because I'm looking at points allowed to running backs right now. Indy allows the 5th most. Carolina allows the 2nd most. So I think we had this discussion Wednesday night. If I'm a Zach Moss owner, I'm throwing Zach Moss in there, especially with the buys and that sort of thing. Zach Moss is in my lineup personally, unless you just have downright better options. But because we've seen Zach Moss still be effective, had the touchdown last week, snuck it away from Taylor. So I still think Zach Moss is very much in play, especially against the 2nd worst run defense in terms of fantasy production for running backs.
I like it.
So I think we differ on this one this week. I'm going with the Vikings running backs against the Falcons. So I don't want to try and proclaim one or the other, which kind of takes away a little bit for this pick. But my hunch here, Grady Jarrett, all-pro type of guy for Atlanta, defensive tackle, is out for the Falcons for the season. So that opens up a huge gap, both literally and figuratively, for running backs against Atlanta. Atlanta has been very good against the run this year. They allow the 2nd least points to running backs. But I like them. I don't like them this week. I like the Vikings running backs this week. We saw Tennessee have some success against them last week. Obviously got the W in that game. I think with Cousins being out, the rookie quarterback, they're going to try and ground and pound the ball. They're going to, I think they're going to find a way to use these running backs, utilize them out of the passing game. That's always a favorite for young quarterbacks, especially a guy that's just getting thrown to the fire like this. Jaron Hall, obviously, when Josh Dobbs comes in, something you and I are looking forward to seeing. But yeah, I like these running backs this week against Atlanta. I think with the Grady Jarrett injury and also the Kirk Cousins injury, I think this will lead to a lot more touches for these running backs.
Okay, so this is a volume play for you, or just overall? Okay.
Volume and a bit of a more favorable matchup with the injury.
I got it. So I got a question. Would you be okay flexing either, and then which one are you more confident in?
Probably Madison.
Madison. Okay.
I just think even because you said this and I agree, Akers is the goal line back.
Mm-hmm.
Madison's between the numbers type of guy.
Yeah.
And if I'm talking volume already, we saw Madison get 16 rushes last week against Green Bay.
Yep.
Wasn't super productive with it, but I gotta take that volume, especially in a matchup like this. So
Okay.
I like Madison a little more. I do think Akers poses that touchdown vulture or upside, if however you want to look at it. But Madison also a little more used in the receiving game, so I like that for him. I can see him finishing with 4 or 5 catches.
I like it. I'll say I understand it.
Yeah.
So wide receiver sleepers. I'm going to go Tank Dell versus the Buccaneers. This is a guy I have not mentioned in a while personally.
Yes.
And I think because of that and because of the nature of who he is, I think he's due for a big game, or at least the nature of who he's been, a boomer bust type of guy. The moment you forget him, they kind of come up with a big game. Tampa Bay gives up the 8th most points per game to wide receivers. I just think that plays favorably into, how this game will play. I kind of expect a high-scoring game here. Don't exactly know why. It's just kind of how I'm feeling about it.
I could see both teams over 20 for sure.
Yeah.
So
that's
some potential.
Tank Dell for 70 yards, 4 catches minimum, and a touchdown.
Some rushing in there.
And a touchdown. Maybe a rush, but I'm thinking more receiving this game.
I like it to bounce back from Panthers. Both him and Nico did not do very well.
Yeah.
So, guys, at receiver, this is kind of a bit of a mainstream pick, but going against a team I'm very familiar with, so I like it as well. Demario Douglas for the Patriots. So Kendrick Bourne, ACL, out for the season. I like Demario Douglas to take over. He's been a bit of a hot waiver wire addition the last 2 weeks or so. Saw 5 for 25 last week, which that's not great. Obviously, you're not ecstatic about that, but I think going against a very, very weak, I've highlighted this before, allow the second most points to receivers, 16 yards a catch, 13 touchdowns, which is the most in the league. So I really like Demario Douglas here. I think he's a good deep sleeper if you need someone. Receivers are injured. Receivers are on bye. Demario Douglas is my guy. I also like Brandon Cooks against Philly because Philly allows the most points, and I think they might key in on CD a little bit. I like Cooks as I think we could see some solid volume out of him this week. But Demario Douglas is my guy, sleeper at receiver.
Riding the hot hand with Cooks.
Yeah. 2 touchdowns last 2 games. Obviously a bit touchdown dependent. Only had 4 targets. He's had 4 targets, 4 receptions against Chargers, 3 and 3 against the Rams.
What's up, Josh? First time on?
What's up, man? Welcome to the pod.
Glad to have you. So,
New fantasy friend.
Yeah.
Holy cow, 20 teams.
Bro, I'm interested, dude.
Yes, this is very interesting.
Traded in 20-team PPR. Traded away Rondale Moore and Jacoby Myers for DJ Moore. Wow.
He's a solid team.
Lamar, JT, Aaron Jones, Tyreek, Christian Kirk, Kittle, Jacob, and DJ Moore. Wow. Good trade.
Dude.
Yeah. 2 more questions.
20-team PPR, and that's your team?
Yeah.
What's your record? Like, that's a good... I mean, bro, even in our 12-man league, I'd be like, that's a solid team. Like,
dude, that's a really good team. So you got Kittle, DJ Moore, and...
Lamar?
And... Wait, who's his... Okay, I guess the flex would be... And Tyreek, wait.
Yeah.
And then you got JT and Aaron Jones?
We probably got JT. His league might have been really down on JT,
I guess. Wow. I think your team's really good, Josh. So
yeah,
absolutely, congrats there.
4-4 got unlucky on matchups.
I think this team is
holy cow.
Round.
3rd most points for. Yep.
Okay.
Same.
2 more questions. What do you think Demario Douglas' potential looks like rest of season, and also do you think Aaron Jones bounces back?
So
I'll let you take this.
Yeah, I'll touch on the Demario Douglas since I don't know, Josh. I'm assuming you just saw the segment. I talked about Demario Douglas, but I think I think there will be some rough. Certainly I'm gonna start off saying he should be picked up in your league. I do think there's gonna be some rough games in there. We're talking Patriots offense here. Mm-hmm. Like it's not any sure thing by any means, but with Bourne out, he slots in as the number 1 guy in my opinion. I think in terms of volume and potential production, I think he's a solid pick. I think he can be flex worthy some weeks going against a defense such as the Commanders. I think it's an exploitable matchup. I would like to see a little more out of him before I declare him as a start, but I like him on a team. I think he should be picked up in your league, absolutely, especially in a 20 team. I got him 3 weeks ago, best pick of the season for me in a 20-man.
So he got JT late in the second and traded for everyone else. So
wow,
I'm thinking Josh could sell water to the ocean right now.
Facts.
Because if you're trading for Tyreek, I'm guessing Christian Kirk had to have been week 1, right?
Yeah, right.
JT probably week 1, week 2.
Well, he traded.
He drafted
JT.
Okay, so Aaron Jones sets him down weeks. Lamar, wow. Kittle.
Talking about buy low, probably. And
just
so second question is Aaron Jones, just to get to that. So I'm a big Aaron Jones guy personally. I've liked him ever since he entered into the league. Probably my second favorite running back in the league. This Packers offense is not good. I'd like to think if there is any sort of spark plug for this offense, it's him.
Mm-hmm.
Let me view his schedule rest of season real quick. See how favorable that looks. Aaron Jones had a monster week 1. I mean, I think we all remember that.
Mm-hmm.
So he had, I mean, he doesn't have an injury designation right now going against LA. So he plays Pittsburgh, Chargers, Detroit, Kansas City, Giants, Tampa Bay, Carolina, Minnesota. He has a favorable back end of the schedule, that's for sure. Giants, Tampa Bay, Carolina, Minnesota. If you can get to the championship or just in the playoffs, he has a very favorable schedule. Sees both LA teams, which are pretty good against the run. As Carter said, you guys are starting to key in on the run. Carter's a Chargers fan.
Yep.
Pittsburgh is all right, kind of average against the run. KC's good, Detroit's good, but once you get past that week 13, Jones has a good schedule. I like Jones. I'd probably project him as a low end RB2 rest of season, maybe. Probably like running back 18, maybe 17, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Just what the state of running back is in, like it's rough. Highlighted that a few days ago.
So I got Tyreek, Jones, and Kirk all in one trade for Amon-Ra. So Tyreek for Amon-Ra, that's good.
Brees
Hall for Aaron Jones. Obviously, take a little bit of a hit there. Got rid of Madison, so good for you there.
Got Kirk too.
You don't want him on your team, and then you got Kirk for essentially, Madison, Devontae Parker, and Chark. So
Which I'm
I
fine
like
with
it
because those guys are all irrelevant.
And obviously, getting Tyreek Hill is
Far outweighs anyone else you let
anything
go.
else, right? Yeah. So well done there, dude. You have a really good team.
Yes.
That's respect. You would probably be competing pretty well in our 12-man right now.
Facts.
Because I would like that team. I mean,
Give me your tight end. I see it.
My tight end sleeper of the week is going to be Donald Parham Jones versus the Jets. This guy's a touchdown machine.
Yeah, that's funny.
I've been a very big fan of him ever since his second year in the league. I don't even know if it's his second year, but his second year of relevance on the Chargers.
What year is this? Year four for him?
I don't even know. But 2 seasons ago at the end of the year, he just came on, started getting touchdown after touchdown. Then
Was that when he had the really bad concussion against Kansas City?
that was in the beginning of last year.
Was it?
I think so. It wasn't even a concussion, or I guess it was a concussion, but he caught the ball.
Yeah,
it was
no,
a
I remember
touchdown,
that.
and then he went paralyzed and dropped it. Anyways, this guy's one of my favorite players on the Chargers right now, just like a staple in the red zone. Last week he started to get some middle of the field work, which bodes well for just receptions overall, and in a PPR league, you like that. And the Jets' big weakness on defense is their tight end defense.
That's pretty much their only weakness.
Right.
Not great against the run either, but yeah.
So Donald Parham for me, I like. I also got Gerald Everett, but he's just my best tight end.
Gerald Everett has a special place in my heart. One of the most underutilized tight ends in the league.
Yeah.
My tight end sleeper is Cade Otton for Tampa Bay. So he's been getting some solid.
What's up, Gordon?
He's been getting some solid work all season. Nothing crazy to brag about. I like him in this matchup against Houston, though. Houston's extremely good at defending everything except tight end. They're the third worst team against tight ends, and they're like at least top 10 in everything else. They've only allowed 5 total receiving touchdowns, only 2 to receivers, so the rest of those goes to either running backs or tight ends. I like Otton. I think he'll be utilized because, as I highlighted, Houston's very good against receivers, so I think Otton will be able to exploit a little bit of the middle of that defense. That's that for me. I like Cade Otton this week if you've ever needed to use him. I have Laporta on bye, so.
So Goddard or Kincaid? I tight end this week. So Goddard's against Cowboys, who figures to be a decently tough matchup as opposed to the Bengals.
Right.
Although the Bengals seem to blow out the Bills when they play, but that's just kind of how it's been in the past. I would go Kincaid.
I like Kincaid. Although you did kind of miss out on his week against Tampa Bay, but won't say any more about that. Let's see something real quick.
Ride the high hand.
I like Kincaid. I really do. He's a very talented guy. Was, obviously first round pick. So Philly's middle of the pack. Cowboys are a little worse than Philly. So we're not worried about Philly. Cowboys are a little worse. They're, 13th best defense or 13th worst defense against tight ends. Who else are we talking about? Kincaid against the Bengals. Kincaid. So the Bengals allow the second most points to tight ends. So yeah, I'm rolling with Kincaid here. I really like Kincaid.
So there's the stats to back it up.
Yeah.
Kincaid, a possible must start going forward, perhaps.
Yes.
Perhaps.
Absolutely. As long as Dawson Knox is out, Kincaid is a start in my opinion.
I would have more questions, but my team is butt, and I pretty much know who I'm starting and sitting. I'm just chilling, enjoying the stream. We appreciate it, Sade. Feel free to comment.
It's dedication.
Like how you feel about these questions too.
Yeah.
You're a very dedicated member of the pod.
You are.
And one day I was thinking about this. Like one day, if this ends up growing, we can make moderators. Like if it ends up being like, down the line or something. Obviously, right now it's just kind of some boys chilling, but. I think you would be one of the best candidates
Absolutely.
to do that, be it down the line. Or just anyone in the league that we're about to make next year. So
Defense,
yes.
Defensive sleepers.
Falcons at the Vikings.
Yes.
For me.
That's the easy one. That's a good one.
Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Explanatory.
Rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
Rookie quarterback.
Not having to face Justin Jefferson also obviously is very helpful.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with
good defense in general too.
I'm gonna go with New York against Las Vegas, even though we're both picking Oakland for some reason. New York has really come together on defense the last few weeks. I don't see Vegas putting up many points with Aiden O'Connell at the helm. I think they'll put up some, but it's just a very opportunistic matchup for a defense that's suddenly coming together. Also like Los Angeles against Green Bay, like New Orleans against Chicago, Houston against Tampa Bay. Yeah, so.
I said I would be honored to be a mod one day. It's yeah, this is down the line. It's just something I was thinking, but yeah, you would certainly be top of the list consideration.
So yeah, I'm going with the Giants there. I don't know. It's just gonna be a low scoring game. So
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see like 2 pick sixes, like one both way, that sort of thing. So looking for a lot of turmoil in that matchup.
Just really a classic game no one wants to watch. QB busts.
Oh,
I'm going Tua versus KC.
woo-hoo!
And this is a little bit spicy, but with the over under, I think at like 55 right now.
Is it at 55?
Something like that. I'm pretty sure it's up
way.
there. Yeah, the over under is pretty high in this game. But I'm gonna give you guys a stat that would change your mind about this, and likely you should take the under.
No way. 55?
I'm pretty sure it's really
50 and a
high.
half.
Okay, so it's only 50 and a half.
Still.
So
Whenever you get over 50, that's...
Yeah, definitely spicy. All right, so this is why. This Dolphins team has not been convincing to me against teams over 500. They've actually only played 2 teams over 500. Tua in those games scored 12 points and 16 points in those games. And KC is averaging only 15.5 points per game this season. Two quarterbacks. So, like, as we said, this is a game where we're really going to gauge where Miami's at. Being their third game, facing a team over 500. Obviously, they've faced some powerhouses in those teams that are over 500, but one of them being the divisional matchup against the Bills.
Yep.
And then, last week against Philly, who's
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago against Philly. Debatably 2 of the best, 5-6 teams in the NFL. So, we're going to see how they play, but I would stay away from Tua if possible.
Interesting. I like it. So, I'm gonna give you guys another relatively high-profile
Lamb to
quarterback.
pop off again versus Philly.
Yes, Philly's the worst team against receivers. I think they're figuring out. I think Dallas is figuring out. They have CeeDee Lamb, so I'd like to see them use them.
He's been really good their past 2 games.
Yes, so I like them
Against my Bargers.
Yeah. So I'm going with Geno Smith here, guys, playing the Ravens, a matchup you and I are both very intrigued to see. I think it's kind of that game, the KC Miami game, and then Buffalo Cincy. Those are probably the 3 most intriguing games this week, in my opinion. But Geno, guys, this Seattle offense has not kind of replicated what we saw last year from them. Big breakout from Geno and just the offense as a whole. I do think they need to get back to running the ball. We only saw 14 carries last week from Kenneth Walker, Charbonnet. So I think they need to get back to that to establish their run game. Geno plays very well off of play action, sets up an offense in general. But I don't like Geno against this Ravens offense. Ravens are extremely good just all around on defense. I mean, that stat I was showing you earlier in terms of EPA against the run and the pass. They're in the top right corner, which is where every team desires to be. So just a very good defense. Geno is a sit for me this week. I'd probably look to go with a different quarterback in a favorable matchup.
Okay. So, moving on to running backs.
This is awkward.
This is a little awkward. So Max had the Vikings running backs as his sleepers. I actually put Madison as a bust in the running back category. I guess you did use the logic of not having
one of them.
No, Brady. Did you say Brady Jarrett?
Grady Jarrett.
Grady Jarrett. So Pro Bowler there. I always get confused at what his name is because for some reason my head doesn't work
G's and
well
J's.
when it comes to him. So yeah. I'm going with Madison versus the Packers, though. He rushed the ball 16 times last week for 31 yards.
Yeah.
That is awful. Cam Akers is getting the touchdown work, so that just deters me from playing Madison. I'm not going to play Akers. I do have Akers. I'm not going to play him by any means, but I think they're going to eat into each other. Falcons right now are giving the second least points per game to running backs, as you had already mentioned.
Yeah.
Only 668 rushing yards on the season. Whew. No touchdowns given up to the running back position.
Stingy.
That is actually really
impressive.
Really cool.
Yeah.
And also, I'm pretty sure no touchdowns to tight ends. So, interesting. Interesting what you want to do with Jordan Addison, given that. But, yeah.
Bears running backs. That's my bust. They got a tough matchup in New Orleans. On the road. This whole, what's his name, Tyson Badgett? The magic's gone. New Orleans is fifth best against running backs, guys, allowing very few points. I'm not looking to start Deontay Ingram as much as we both love him. Bro, she's text. Yeah, I'm not looking to start Deontay Foreman or Roshan Johnson this one, guys. Saints are just a very stout defense, a defense Carter and I rave about week in, week out. As I said, fifth best against running backs, only allowed 630 yards. So I'm totally out on trying to stream out of those and find some magic in there.
New follower, Jay
Levin.
Appreciate it.
What's up, bro?
What's up? Welcome to the pod. No way you're starting a Vikings running back anytime soon.
A sleeper, not a start, bro. This is great. Who's your receiver bust?
All right, so my wide receiver bust is going to be JSN versus the Ravens.
I like it.
Guy that's been getting a lot of hype recently. Ravens is just a really good defense, really good against the pass. Jason is still the third man in that offense in the passing department. They got DK and Lockett. Those have been their two top guys for, ever. DK also is back, whereas that first week that Jason did have a lot of receiving work, DK was out. So, okay, well, DK was out that week. So, Lockett comes back. Jason had, 4 receptions last week? I think something like that.
I think it was 3 for 36.
3 for 36. He got the touchdown, which gave him a good output.
Right.
But the past 2 weeks, he's really just been helped out by the touchdowns. I think that's kind of unsustainable week to week. for a guy that's third in the pecking order
Right.
in that
Well,
offense.
and I think both of us like him if one of those guys are hurt, you know.
Yeah.
But if they're not, I mean, DK had 14 targets last week. Like, he had 14 targets, only 5 receptions. So, what we got? What'd Jay
Stuff's
say?
going on there.
How long y'all been doing the show? Since August, right? Mid-August?
Yeah, we started like I think about a month before the draft.
Yeah.
And if you followed our advice, you'd actually be doing pretty good.
We did pretty solid
pretty
on a few
good.
guys.
Pretty good.
Obviously, everyone misses, but yeah, he did pretty
Keenan was
solid.
one of our big guys.
Keenan Amari.
We were saying earlier Deontay Johnson. I was pretty
Yep.
high on. You were really high on Puka. Like you actually
Yeah.
drafted Puka,
Sam Laporta.
which a lot of people say they couldn't. Couldn't say they did.
Yeah.
Sam Laporta you drafted as well.
Nico.
So Nico.
Michael Pittman and Cortland Sutton, we were both high on.
Yeah. So
So been doing it
Zach
since then,
Ertz.
bro. Yeah, Zach Ertz. Do we provide dynasty insights? So funny you say that, bro. The only time dynasty gets mentioned on here is when we're hyped talking about Tyjae Spears.
mhm.
Because we both have a league together, been in the league for
12 years.
a long time. But we play just standard, I don't know what you call it, season long
Yeah.
fantasy. So,
Redraft.
redraft format every year. I think both of us are kind of looking to do a dynasty
I want
next
to
year.
do
I think it'd be
dynasty.
pretty interesting. I'm not fully educated on the dynamics of it, but to give you a short answer, no, we really don't. If you have any questions, I'd love to answer them because I'm a big like NFL draft sort of understanding the future type of guy.
What's it? All right, just Jay leaving. You don't exactly understand this, but Max, what would you say your dream job is, and it has always been?
Being an NFL GM.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
this guy has a
Yeah.
good football mind.
So
So if you have questions,
Yeah.
we can give you more of like a just a
theoretical.
educated guess. Haven't played. I think there's like fab in that too, something
Right.
you kind of have to work with.
Right.
A little bit more to it.
What'd Jelly say? Ignore Luke.
Defensive special teams is Philly and play Dallas, then bye next week.
Drop for Atlanta versus Minnesota or Green Bay versus Rams. Not sure if Stafford plays. Jets are also on the wire, but playing Chargers. Yeah. So Carter's sleeper was Atlanta. I would coincide with that. I like that matchup.
Yeah.
Now if Stafford doesn't play, I don't mind the Green Bay play either. Now let's see. I'll just look into the future here. Atlanta Falcons schedule. I'm assuming you're not. What time you guys go live? 9:30 ish
9-ish.
usually.
Yeah.
Like to go live Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Sunday about an hour 45 minutes before the game. Like to sit on live for you guys and answer any lineup questions, that
Yeah.
sort of thing. So, yeah.
Appreciate you as well.
Yeah. So I will say, for the Falcons, Jelly, Falcons play the Vikings this week. They have the Cardinals next week. Now, Kyler Murray could be back, but even then, I'm not huge on the Cardinals offense. So it's still a pretty solid matchup. They do have the Saints the next week, the Jets the week after that, the Buccaneers after that, the Falcons or the Panthers after that. Then they play a good Colts offense, and then they play the Bears. So they have a very good. Atlanta's a defense that you could actually keep on your team for all but 1 or 2 games through the next 8 weeks.
Yeah, one of those games you'd figure they have a great.
Right.
Great
So I would roll with the Falcons just to have them for these upcoming matchups, dude.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'll get to my bust receiver, a guy that
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
guys.
Don't do it.
I don't know how long some of y'all have been on here, but Mike Evans is my bust this week at receiver.
You've
a guy,
jinxed this podcast.
a guy that
You've
Carter,
cursed it.
a guy that Carter and I were very out on going into the season, and clearly very wrong about. But I'm doubling back to it. As I mentioned earlier, Houston is really good against receivers. I've allowed only 2 touchdowns. The more I say, it's like he's gonna do all this.
Yeah.
He's probably gonna have like a touchdown, 120 yards, and 7 receptions or something. But Mike Evans is my bust going against a very good Houston defense. As I said, I think they'll kind of disrupt Baker's timing back there. Will Anderson, as you mentioned on Wednesday night, is an absolute beast.
Mhm.
D'Amico Ryans has his boys right, so I like the defense. Mike Evans is my bust at receiver this week. So it probably means you should start him if you have him on your team.
Okay, so I think
We haven't mentioned him in a long time, though.
Evans never going to stop until he retires. Honestly, that
Facts.
dude's a motor.
1,000 yards.
I would be slump on Akers and Madison.
Yeah, that's all right. Madison.
Some people will sleep. Some people
will live.
will open their eyes. So it's just a matter of time.
But you never know what to expect weekly.
Yeah.
Facts.
Okay. Cool. So on to the next one.
Give him the tight end. Give it
Tight
to
end
him.
bust. Guy I'm locked in with.
Oh no.
It's just for me now. I just have to make the case every week because I committed already to making him a bust every week.
I like it.
Kyle Pitts versus Minnesota at Minnesota. So
This is a running joke, guys.
yeah, this is kind of a running joke, but the joke's getting less and less funny because
Because he's doing.
He's
He's had
starting to
some
do
solid games.
yeah. Basically, Minnesota is giving up the 5th least yards to tight ends this season. He's not gonna get a lot of yards, so really you're just kind of hoping for a touchdown. Jonnu Smith is still in there in the mix. Now Drake London is out this week, but
And Taylor Heineke's at quarterback.
it's just Kyle Pitts. Yep.
I knew it. Yeah.
Yeah. I just have to make the case every week. So now
It's a weekly tradition.
Yeah. So now,
I'll go out on a limb here.
as surely as the sunrise, Kyle Pitts will be
Kyle
my
Pitts will
tight
be
end bust.
Carter's bust for the week. Yeah. I gotta say, I actually like Kyle Pitts this week with Heineke back there. No Drake London. It's kind of like the perfect mix for him to do well.
Yeah.
But all right, so my bust at tight end, probably the most popular waiver wire target at tight end this week. I'm going with Trey McBride, believe it or not. As I'm looking at right now, average points to tight ends. Cleveland is number 1, allowing 5.9 points to tight ends. They've only allowed 16 receptions on the year and 133 yards, which is over 100 yards less than the Panthers, who are number 2, which is absolutely insane. So I don't like McBride playing with Clayton Tune. That's just not like a good mix. Now, is a tight end a young rookie quarterback's security blanket? Absolutely. We say that on here, every now and then. But guys, I'm not. He's obviously a good pickup. Had 10 for 95 and a touchdown last week. This might just be a really, really rough, very unfavorable matchup. So I'm staying away from Trey McBride this week. Season long, especially once Kyler Murray comes back. I like the kid. So that's my analysis.
Cool. All right, that's our tight ends. Now defense and special team busts. Looking at my team, I got Trey McBride locked in right now. So Darren Waller's out, which is unfortunate. I got the Packers at the Rams. The Packers to bust on defense. The Rams haven't exactly been like a extremely formidable offense, so I feel like some people might feel like they should play the Packers, but I wouldn't because they're my bust.
Great.
That's my analysis.
It's the type of analysis you can count on from us, guys. All you newcomers. That right there. That's what you can expect on a weekly basis. All right, guys. I'm going with Washington. I think New England has a bit of a breakout game. Mac Jones is one of my favorite streaming options for the week, believe it or not. Demario Douglas is obviously my sleeper. Washington traded away their best 2 edge rushers. Now, there is obviously a scenario where this defense kind of comes together, plays a little better, but at the same time, I don't really see that happening going in tight end. I don't really see that happening this week, especially going into New England. I don't see. I actually dropped Washington in favor of the Giants, so I don't see Washington as a great streaming option this week. I think Mac Jones has a solid game. I think they get the run game going. I'm just not seeing a lot of opportunity here, so that's my bust of the week. I think Tampa Bay is a bit of a bust. I think they'll kind of put out a pedestrian game, maybe 5 points at most. Who else? I mean, Cleveland's obviously a great play, but they're obviously picked up in your league. Yeah, I feel like there's kind of a few obvious matchups this week. Like anyone with the New Orleans next to their name, I advise starting.
Yeah.
I'll say that. Who's your lock? I like your
we,
lock.
we should
actually.
talk Gordon because I'm pretty interested in both of those guys. Although I'll have to kind of see where Darren Waller's at. My lock of the week is actually Bareem Hunt versus the Cardinals.
Ooh, I love it.
This is due to a positive game script for the Browns. Cardinals coming in with Joshua Dobbs, so I mean a little bit of spice there, but I just think that I feel like didn't the Cardinals play the Browns already this season? They didn't.
It's impossible.
The Cardinals can't play the Browns.
Twice?
No, Joshua Dobbs.
Oh.
I feel like the
Well,
Cardinals
Josh Dobbs
played
is on the Vikings now. Remember?
Gosh, all right.
You're just thinking because he's played for both teams.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're just a little.
All right, guys. This has not been my best outing. So yeah.
No,
Anyways, Hunt versus the Cardinals. I think it's a positive game script. Is basically all I was trying to get at there. And Arizona is going to gives up the third most to the position. So,
I like Hunt this week a lot. I think
like
he's the
playing
running back
Kareem.
one there. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that.
He's
I do
definitely
not like
right.
Jerome Ford. If you can sell Jerome Ford right now, sell him. Gordon, you're clueless. Ford relies, and we've said this week in and week out. Ford relies on nothing but a touchdown and a 50-yard run or something. If he doesn't get that, he's not producing. Now, running back is very bare, so what you can do with it, what you're gonna expect in return, I'm not sure, but I'm out on Ford season long and as a viable fantasy option. Like in no way, shape, or form am I excited whatsoever to say I'm starting Jerome Ford in my lineup.
Neither am I. Yeah, I think Kareem Hunt's the better of the two backs.
So guys, if you know me, or if you've been watching this pod for long enough, you know my lock. I can put a blindfold over you. You know my lock.
Yep.
Alvin Kamara. RB6, and he's only played 5 games. Playing Chicago. I don't think there's much more to say. Look what he said.
Stop saying Gordon.
I don't think there's any much more to say, guys. Chicago allows a lot of points to running backs. They allow a lot of receptions, and as anyone knows, Kamara gets a lot of receptions. They've allowed 5 receiving touchdowns to running backs, the most in the league. They've allowed the most receiving yards by over 100. They've allowed the most touchdowns. Kamara's about to go nuts. That's crazy. Kamara's about to go nuts. Wow, yeah, Kamara's my lock. This is getting better as I truly look into the stats here. This is great. This is really good stuff. Alvin Kamara. I put some money on him this week, that's
Dude,
for sure.
I think he's
Holy cow.
running back 6 on the season or something like that. We were looking at. Ford been good, y'all.
It's about to bench. Yeah, Kamara is RB6, and he's only played 5 games,
That's wild.
which is nuts.
So,
Obviously,
guys,
PPR.
For everyone that's in here and doesn't know, Gordon Lampkin has actually been on this podcast. It's his brother, so if we're talking down to him or whatever, that's not usually how we deal
It's
with.
nothing well, it is personal because it's my brother, and if you can see, he's put in 20 chats in the span of 2 minutes now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my brother Gordon.
Take Kamara over receiving on FanDuel this week. It was
Check down
Kamara definite lock. Take down the Derek Carr and a
a lock for 15 rushes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Another lock I want to say. So I usually like to give you guys a lock that's a little less obvious, and Kamara is probably the most obvious thing you could say this week. Garrett Wilson is a lock for me. I think we highlighted him coming off of our review on Tuesday for the week of week 8. He put up 7 for 100 last week. He's been very viable with Zach Wilson, so I really like Garrett Wilson in your lineups. I think he's a lineup lock this week, especially against the Chargers keying on the run, as you mentioned. So I really like him in the passing game because their pass defense just is not good. So Garrett Wilson is a lock to me this week going against that Chargers defense, and I really like him season long. So
Cool. Yeah, that's what we got.
Sums it up.
That's our Thursday night wrap up.
I do want to say Drake
Sleepers,
London's
busts, and
out.
locks.
Damian Pierce is out for the Texans at running back. So Singletary, if he's on your, running back is a dire position right now, guys. If you're looking for a stream this week at running back or someone to pick up, I'd certainly pick up Devin Singletary because he's actually been pretty effective when he's been in. So
Yeah.
I like Devin Singletary this week. I think go ahead, pick him up. No reason not to. Let's see. I don't think there's much else going on right now. Let's see. So Ritter's active as the backup QB. Jair Alexander's cleared to play. As we said, Aaron Jones does not carry an injury designation, so he should be in your lineups. Absolutely.
Musgrave, let's go.
Musgrave is off the injury report.
Okay, so
Very good.
I would add him to my tight end sleepers.
Yeah, I like him.
He's going up. That's a really good matchup
Yes.
against the Rams.
Yes. KJ Osborne practices in full. Probably wouldn't look to start. He had a really nice week last week, 7 for 99. With the backup quarterback in, I'm not looking to start him, especially against a good Atlanta defense.
Yeah.
Devontae Parker won't play in week 9. Tyquan Thornton, questionable. Not that that's really. Oh, wow. Zach Moss missed practice Friday. Should play in week 9. If he doesn't play, bro, Jonathan Taylor's going through the roof.
Let's go.
Did Heineke take the starting spot? Yes. Heineke is the starter for the Falcons, which I really like. And, of course, my beloved Drake London is hurt the week they play one of the worst passing defenses, and Heineke gets the start. So that sucks. But as long as Heineke is the starter, I'm a lot higher on Drake London than I am with, Ritter in there.
Mm-hmm.
Just because we saw him support Heineke support Heineke. Heineke supported Terry McLaurin last year, just force-fed him. Drake London is the same sort of guy, in my opinion. I think he's an elite receiver. Might get some actual usage.
Josh Downs questionable to play.
Yeah, Josh Downs questionable
So,
with a knee injury.
I feel like Pittman could be a.
Yes.
Although Panthers do have.
Panthers do have a good defense, but you got to think just that's pure volume right there.
Yeah. Mo Alley Cox sighting? Question mark.
Maybe is he hurt?
Oh,
I don't
know.
know. Is it Granson that's our tight end right now? I forget. I don't know the last time. Do you remember Dallas Clark, tight end for Indy?
When?
Number 44.
No.
He was a beast. He was probably one of the more underrated guys. He's a beast.
You can buy a jersey.
I always thought 44 at tight end was kind of sick.
For some reason, it looks like a fullback.
Yeah, exactly. He was a tough tight end. He was nice.
Dallas Clark.
So Braxton Berrios is questionable to play.
How's my boy Durham Smythe
Uh-oh.
doing? Is he
Durham
still?
Smythe is questionable.
No.
He's been going crazy this year. He's been going nuts.
Bro, he's about to go for 3 touchdowns this week.
He's been doing really good.
I feel like he's due.
Smythe. He's got to get touchdowns.
He's my touchdown lock of this week.
Joe Mixon questionable for week 9. Panic, take a deep breath and realize that Mixon was able to practice okay, so he's practiced on full Thursday and Friday. Joe Mixon, guys, so he's fine. It's just a formality to, for injury designations. Saquon cleared to play week 9. Wandale cleared to play week 9. Tyrod Taylor is out. Daniel Jones is returning. Don't really know what to make of that. Stafford officially questionable.
I feel like he's going to be game time.
He did not practice all week. Yeah, so he's expected to be a game time decision. Did not practice all week. Michael Wilson misses practice Friday. That's not good. Amari DiMarcado remains sidelined in practice Friday. So Keontae Ingram would be the next guy up. Saw his career high last week.
I'm not too excited to play them, though.
I think I said that coming into the week is like I don't really.
Against the Browns.
They've been like neither of them. I don't even know that either of them have scored double digits. I could be totally wrong on that, but
I haven't seen him play in any team in our leagues.
Okay. Curtis Samuel's ruled out.
Okay.
Maybe another Jamison Crowder sighting. He did solid last week. Josh Allen's off the injury report. Drake London ruled out. Already said that. Chuba Hubbard to start. He was your sleeper, right?
Yep.
Yeah, good call there. DJ Chark, game time decision. Kyler
Ooh.
Murray. Cardinals have not decided on a starter for Week 9. That came out today, guys, at 2:52.
I almost want to start Marcus
So
Brown now.
Cardinals coach Jonathan Gannon said they haven't decided who will start for the Cardinals at quarterback versus the Browns on Sunday. Gannon added they'll likely decide on the plane Friday or Saturday whether it's Kyler Murray or Clayton Tune. They both reportedly had a good week of practice. Wow.
What are they gonna do? Rock paper scissors on the plane or something?
Facts. That's interesting. Najee finds that.
So I almost.
Wow.
I
Look
almost
at
wanna
that.
Start Marcus Brown
Sean Watson to start.
off the injury report. Okay.
Good for him. If there's a defense to do it against Arizona.
Yeah. Arizona could be a sleeper upset if Kyler plays and Deshaun Watson throws. But,
Facts.
obviously, like,
So,
if there's a good quarterback and then one quarterback's throwing the game, then
so Damian Pierce, guys, out. Singletary is the guy that I kind of like this
Jalen
week.
Ramsey
Off the injury report, so that's good for him. Terran Armstead, star left tackle for Miami, listed as questionable. Raheem Mostert off the injury report Week 9. That's very good to see. Greg Newsome, not so. That's probably who you were talking about when you were thinking about Denzel Ward being injured. Greg Newsome, corner for.
No, it was Minka.
Oh, right. We already figured that out. Star left tackle for the Giants, Andrew Thomas, listed as questionable. If he plays, that's a big boost for that line. What else we got? Kyle Phillips is the biggest waiver wire off of last night's game, in my opinion.
They're not sure if Maury or Toon. Yeah, I guess not.
Yeah, you'd think.
I feel like
that's
Kyler
kind
Murray might
of confusing to me. You'd think if they're both practicing, you clearly roll with Kyler.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're ever looking to play, like, since he's in the conversation of playing, you'd think if he had a full week of practice, he's gonna.
Especially,
be the
they
guy.
just gave him a huge contract. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way he's sit. I don't know. Maybe they start the game off with Toon just to throw him off and throw Kyler in like the second drive.
I don't know.
Who knows?
So
or Toon's just going off in practice right now. Who
Right.
knows?
So Gerald Everett returns to the field Thursday, so that's good. As did Odell Beckham. Gus Edwards returned to practice on Thursday. Debo Samuel says he's ready to go, so they're obviously on bye this week, but would like to see Debo back, open up that offense a little more. What'd Josh say?
You are killing it in these big
16, yeah.
So,
Burrow, holy cow.
Burrow,
So,
CMC, Kamara, Amon-Ra, Jamar Chase,
what? Brees Hall?
Logan Thomas, Brees Hall, Cheese, and Jake Elliott. In a 16-team league,
I think you'd be good in an 8,
I would
man.
give you a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean that's a A plus besides your tight end maybe, but tight end is what it is. So, I mean, do you think Palmer or Downs are playing this week?
Downs
I
is
haven't
out.
seen anything about Josh Palmer.
Downs is officially out. Dude, like,
He's
how do you
questionable,
get that in a
actually.
16?
Josh Downs is questionable right now.
Probably. That's crazy.
Yeah,
You're doing good. Good fantasy
You're
manager.
a very good fantasy player, Josh. Well, Josh Palmer playing Week 9. Did not participate in practice today. So that's pretty interesting. I don't know that he'll play if he's a guy that's, in your lineup. I
would try to stay away from him even if he does play.
yeah.
I traded Tony in all my
said
leagues.
impossible to his lineup. I traded a ton in all my leagues. Well, good for you, bro, because in our league,
No one trades.
it's impossible to come across a trade.
The only trade all season was I traded away Zach Ertz and Gus Edwards for Tyler Lockett, and this is like week 2.
Yeah.
And then everyone else is just stingy. They're not trying to give me their best players.
Unless you're playing with middle schoolers. Josh, ignore him.
I'm against both of them and dealing with Amon-Ra and CMC bye weeks.
Yeah. I'm dealing with a few bye weeks myself.
What if Josh is in middle school?
How old are
He's
you,
just-
Josh?
Then he's just
You don't have
the
to tell me
best
that if you're
middle
not
schooler.
comfortable with that. But let's see. So quarterbacks, Aiden O'Connell expected to start. Heineke starting. My bench is literally empty as a constant. Gotcha.
I mean, still, like I would
Yeah.
false end for that team.
Facts.
Amon-Ra, Jamar Chase. Okay, you're like, oh, so he must have given up, in the
Surely he
running
doesn't
back
have two
department.
top 6 running backs.
CMC Kamara. Oh, so he doesn't have a QB. Breeze.
He has the
Or no,
Burrow Jamar stack too.
He said not middle school.
That's funny. And then you have you got Brees Hall on the bench too.
Yeah.
Or
And then
I guess
Zeke
he's your
Elliott at kicker.
Brees Hall's your flex. That's kind of insane. Yeah. So that's pretty wild, bro. Good for you. Doing it in the 20 and 16 man league. If I was one of your league mates, I would not trade with you. Yeah, so that's all the news for this week, guys. Just clear that up with
Thielen
you.
and Kenneth Walker for Jamar Chase and
I like
Brees Hall
that.
very early in the season.
Wow.
Wow.
I like because Brees Hall owner was probably very frustrated, as with Jamar Chase too.
Yeah, you're thinking long term.
Yeah,
I like
dude.
it.
I like that. Especially, I mean, Thielen obviously has been getting it done, but he was definitely a sell high for us guy.
Yeah.
And Kenneth Walker has been somewhat pedestrian the last 2 weeks.
Beginning of the season, though, you would think he was going to be.
Kenneth Walker, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, great trade, bro. Great buy low. That's what I like to see.
Yeah.
Someone executing on some buy lows. Let's see. You got any crazy stats? Sort of BS for a little. If anyone has any questions or anything.
Congrats on the championship, though, Josh, if you're not lying.
Not lying. Advanced. See if I can find any crazy stats for you guys. Average target distance. Rashid. His average target distance 18 yards. Good for him. Good for him.
Thank God that's my team, but I'm not even 500 right now. It's how it be, bro. I mean, I
Tell 'em
also
your
have
team.
a pretty solid team
Yeah.
that is way under 500. Granted, I did kind of throw the first 4 weeks of the season.
Yeah, run through your team real quick.
I'll run through my team. I think he, in both of his leagues, he might actually have a better team than me. And he's actually the most unlucky player in all my leagues.
Well, you're speaking to someone that relates to you.
Yeah.
Me and him.
I'm
pretty lucky this year.
I've been very disappointed these past 2 weeks.
I'm just a good manager. What can I say?
I got Eckler, JT, Cup, Olave, and then on my bench, I got Mostert, Marquise Brown, Tyler Lockett. Darren Waller's been an absolute miss this season. But yeah, Eckler, JT, Cup, and Olave, you figure would be good. Olave's been underperforming a little bit. I can't talk about my team without kind of being down on it, so I'll just stop.
Without being Josh Downs on it.
Yeah. Browns defense. I'll end with that.
You the Browns defense?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Dang right I do. Browns and Lions.
I'm a streamer, baby. Streamer at heart. So one thing I want to highlight, guys, Michael Pittman already getting nearly a 29% target share, 12th in the league. If Josh Downs is out, it's gonna skyrocket. I mean, I could see him getting easily double-digit targets. I did scam someone for CMC. You have Stroud, DK, and Tank Dell to someone who didn't have a quarterback since they had Dobbs and AR. Hey, man. You think you can get it. I like that.
That's a scam.
Yeah. Also, Zay Flowers is 15th in target share, so better days are ahead for him.
Yeah.
He's had a frustrating week last week and a somewhat pedestrian day the week before. So I like Zay Flowers season long, absolutely. What else? I mean, Deontay Johnson and George Pickens are right next to each other in terms of target share. Interesting to see. Obviously, Pickens is the boomer bust guy. Johnson's more of the stability guy. Chris Godwin and Mike. That's funny. So it goes Deontay Johnson, George
I'm head to
Pickens.
bed. I'll catch you guys later.
Peace, Josh.
Peace, Josh. Yeah,
Appreciate
we're
you
gonna
being
wrap
on
up
here,
here
bro.
soon anyway. So,
See you Sunday
Having a good
morning
night's
if you got any
sleep.
questions.
yeah. If you want to know when we're on, hit the subscribe button. But usually we don't ask people to do it.
Yeah.
But if you would like to, go ahead and
Love
do
to
that.
have you on here again because
Yeah.
clearly you know what you're doing.
Right. Hopefully this week is wins across the board for all of us. Facts.
Facts,
Big
bro.
facts.
Trying to maintain number one in our league, baby.
Yeah. What is it? 0.2 points right
Point zero. So the guy that I'm tied with in first, I'm 0.04 points ahead of him on the season.
now? Subbed already.
Appreciate you,
Skew.
Josh.
Oh, that's what you meant by subbed earlier. I was like, what is he talking about? Okay, cool.
Not his best.
Not my best outing.
Yeah.
All right.
Christian Kirk, 22%, 31st in the league. You'd think that'd be higher. No, this is an issue to me. Not that I care. Not that I care.
Mm.
But Terry McLaurin is 35th in target share.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
That is
Like
bad.
that's uncalled for.
A lot of his targets, I'm pretty sure he's drawn like the most offensive pass or defensive pass interference calls in the league
Has he?
so far. So I don't know if that counts as a target. Yeah, he's like
I think it's like a no play thing, so I'm
Right.
pretty sure it doesn't.
he actually has drawn a lot of those. So
Huh.
that could account a little
Look
bit
who's,
for it.
look who's leading in the end zone. Another guy we recommended.
Yeah, Romeo
Most end
Doubs.
zone targets.
I can't believe, dude. I still can't believe people were drafting Christian Watson so much higher than him.
Facts.
Made zero sense.
Jordan Addison, another guy we recommended. Sutton, Tyreek Hill, skip over that guy. Gabe Davis was a guy that was kind of funny. Like near the beginning of the season, both you and I were like, "Wait, why is Gabe Davis getting drafted in the 9th round?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
or why is his ADP 9th round?" Yeah, so that's cool. Lockett and Metcalf are right next to each other. AJ Brown. So Olave and Thomas have similar red zone end zone targets. Hopkins has 6 end zone targets. Ridley has 6, which is tied for 14th. So you'd have to think that I think he starts coming around. I would trade for Ridley, guys. Anyone that's still watching, I would trade for him, buy low. I don't see any way that he keeps on the path he's on right now.
Yeah.
Like there's just no way he stays this low. I don't think he'll ever be exactly what we thought he was gonna be.
No.
I'll say that, but I do think he's gonna be a formidable wide receiver 2 probably throughout the rest of the season. Let's see where he's ranked right now as it stands. So Calvin got 91 points on the season, PPR. He's wide receiver 37, so he's not even a wide receiver 3 right now. Yeah, I don't see that sustaining. I mean, he had 14 last week. He goes against San Fran, who's actually not very good against receivers. He goes against San Fran in Tennessee, and then a solid team in Houston. Cincy, solid team in Cleveland, solid team in Baltimore, Tampa Bay, Carolina. So he's got some rough matchups.
Yeah.
But, I mean, talented offense, talented player. You can outdo some matchups, that's for sure.
Yep.
So, I mean, I like Ridley season long. I think he's a good buy low. I got no issue with him.
Cool. I think that about
Pretty
wraps
good.
it up. I'm
Yeah.
getting pretty tired. I also want to try out this new Fortnite OG season. OG map is back, so
Facts.
try that out. Maybe get a dub in Madden real quick. We'll see what happens. But anyways,
You did dummy Wednesday night.
anyways, thank you guys for watching. As always,
Always.
we really appreciate you guys coming on here,
New
talking
guys.
with us, chilling with us like side eye.
Appreciate you.
Coming on.
Jelly. We hadn't seen Jelly in a little while.
Yeah. I think there's like the original Jelly, right?
Yeah.
'Cause there was another Jelly.
Mm-hmm.
So lots of Jelly going around here.
Yeah. But
two different
Josh
Jellies.
and Jay Levin,
Yeah.
appreciate you guys checking us out.
Yep.
Hopefully you like what you saw. Always welcome to send recommendations and always encourage interaction. So
Exactly.
appreciate you guys being on here.
Peace out, guys.
Peace. Still here again.
Just when you thought we were leaving.
Just when you thought we were done.
Great stream, guys.
Appreciate you, side eye.
Yeah, appreciate
Always,
you,
bro.
bro.
All right. Peace.